Mr. Chairman. And our friends on the panel, I think we probably have a number of versions of the same question here, and all of you have been before panels before, you understand that's the nature of the body. But as we try to address the issues, I'd turn first, Mr. Young, to you. In just 2 years, the United States will have the ability to return the moon with a space launch system in Orion for the first time in 40 years, and for the first time ever go deeper into space, providing a historic opportunity for American leadership and exploration. Recently, of course, the NASA administrator has stated that NASA would be doomed if the next president changes course and deviates from the developments of the space launch system in Orion. And if you could, one more time, to reinforce the point, discuss with us the risks there are in walking away from the investments made in these programs over the last decade.
First, and I think it's your point, there are no goals that involve human exploration that are significant that are not going to bridge administrations today. So that's a fact that we're going to have to deal with. And so with that, a little bit repeating myself, but it says that we need to, the current administration needs to approach very seriously the transition to the next administration in getting forward the rationale as to why sustaining the endeavor across the administration is an important thing to do. As you're saying, what are the downside if you don't do that? I talked about this $180 billion, and I don't mean to treat that frivolously at all, and I also don't mean to say that's everything that's needed, but it's reasonably logical that the activity will be sustained over the next couple of decades at that level. It would be such a shame if what we did was just waste that money and not having a sustainable program really is wasted. I mean, we have a graveyard today that's fairly extensive that has headstones of human spaceflight programs that consumed a lot of resources and ended up with no basic product. And I don't think we need any more headstones in that cemetery. What we really need is monuments to accomplishments.
Well put, Mr. Young. One more question. Part of your testimony indicated that the recent Human Orbiting Mars workshop organized by the Planetary Society, the Space Policy Institute, and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory provides a credible argument that a Mars mission is feasible at constant funding levels. Is there any reason that NASA could not use that as a baseline to plan against? To expand just a little more, sir.
Yeah, well, I was not a part of that activity, by the way. I'm familiar with it, and I think that what that really accomplished, and what they focused on was a minimum mission, what they were trying to find, a minimum credible mission. But I think the real contribution of that endeavor was they got on the table, on the agenda, a model, or not a model, a plan that most people think has some credibility relative to it to begin the process. Now, the pathway activity that the Congress initiated and was done by the National Academy did a similar thing. As it turns out, the budgeting, or I don't know if the budgeting is the right way to say it, the cost estimating activity that was done for this minimal mission you referred to was done by the same people with the same process as was done for the pathway activity. So my belief is there are two options that have a lot of basis behind them. They probably neither one of the option that the country will converge upon, but we should put those on the table, and we really should charge the leadership of this country to say, look, you know, if we're really serious about humans to Mars, we've got to have a plan. And, you know, and here are a couple versions that says it's not impossible to have a plan. It's not impossible to have a good plan. But what we've got to do is to converge on a plan that those who are charged with executing the plan really have, you know, have their own analysis involved in and their own recognition of the importance of the plan.
Thank you, Mr. Young. And Mr. Chairman, I yield back the balance of my time.
Yes, sir.